Let's skip the clichés. The Caribbean is so much more than paradise. These islands are hiding volcano-buried cities, underwater museums, and tax secrets that would make Wall Street blush. From gold medal miracles to an island with more companies than people, we're diving deep into the wildest, weirdest, and most wonderful corners of the Caribbean. You ready? Let's uncover the real Caribbean. Unfortunately, I don't have access to original footage from every Caribbean island featured, so some visuals in this video are purely illustrative. My goal is never to misrepresent or criticize, but to share factual, intriguing, and lesser-known insights about this extraordinary region. Everything shown is meant to inform, inspire, and celebrate the Caribbean with full respect to its people and cultures. Fact number 1: Cuba's silent Christmas. For nearly 3 decades, Christmas was invisible in Cuba. From 1969 to 1997, Fidel Castro's communist regime officially banned Christmas as a public holiday, deeming it incompatible with revolutionary ideals and a distraction from sugar harvest season. Religious celebrations were quietly suppressed, nativity scenes vanished from windows, and attending Mass could get you labeled as counter-revolutionary. The decision was never fully explained, but analysts agree it was part of a broader attempt to eliminate Catholic influence. Ironically, the ban was lifted just before a historic visit from Pope John Paul II in 1998, signaling a cautious thaw in church-state relations. Today, although Christmas is celebrated again, its presence remains more reserved compared to the dazzling commercial displays in many other nations. It's a surreal footnote in Caribbean history, a tropical island where jingle bells fell silent for nearly 30 years. Fact number 2: the Caribbean's modern Pompeii, Plymouth, Montserrat. In 1995, the sleepy capital of Montserrat, Plymouth, was buried alive by Mother Nature's wrath. The Soufriere Hills volcano, dormant for centuries, erupted violently and covered the city in a smothering wave of ash and pyroclastic flows. Over the next few years, nearly 2/3 of the island became uninhabitable, forcing most of the population to flee. Buildings were swallowed, cars melted, and streets turned into hardened lava rivers, all while the capital stood frozen in time like a modern Caribbean Pompeii. Unlike other disasters, the city was not rebuilt. Instead, the government declared Plymouth a permanent exclusion zone, and it now stands eerily preserved in ash, a ghost town that whispers its story in silence. Tourists with special permits can visit, but what they see isn't tourism. It's apocalyptic archaeology in real time. Fact number 3: the world's shortest commercial runway, Saba Island. Welcome to Saba, a volcanic rock in the Dutch Caribbean that boasts a record only daredevils appreciate: the shortest commercial runway on Earth. Measuring just 1,312 feet, that's around 400 meters, the Wancho E. Urausquan Airport's runway is wedged between cliffs and ends in a sheer drop straight into the sea. There's no room for error. Only specially certified pilots are allowed to land here, and most commercial jets are banned. Planes don't glide in gracefully. They slam the brakes the moment the wheels touch down. Locals treat each arrival like a sporting event, with tourists often applauding every safe landing. It's a rare case where the airport is the main attraction, not just the gateway. If turbulence makes you nervous, Saba might just cure you, or cure you from flying altogether. Fact number 4: Dominica's boiling lake, nature's steaming cauldron. Hidden deep in Dominica's lush Morne Trois Pitons National Park lies something that looks straight out of Mordor: the boiling lake. This surreal, bubbling gray-blue pool is actually a flooded volcanic fumarole, and it's the second largest hot spring on the planet. The surface temperature hovers near 92 to 97 degrees Celsius, and in some areas it boils so violently that steam clouds block the sun. No one truly knows how deep it goes. Attempts to measure it have failed due to the intense heat and rising gases. The hike to reach it is a brutal, muddy trek through rainforests and sulfur vents, but the view at the top is pure elemental drama. Locals say the lake occasionally disappears and reappears, as if the island is breathing from underground. It's not just a lake, it's a living wound in the Earth's crust. Fact number 5: one tiny island, two flags, St. Martin, Sint Maarten. St. Martin is an island so small you could drive across it in under an hour. Yet it's shared by two different nations. The northern part, St. Martin, belongs to France, while the southern half, Saint Martin, is part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. It's the smallest inhabited island on Earth divided between two countries, and here's the kicker: there's no physical border at all. You can literally cross from one nation to another while sipping a cocktail or walking on the beach. They have different governments, currencies, languages, and even legal systems, but one seamless Caribbean vibe. Legend says the border was drawn after a drunken race between a Frenchman and a Dutchman, wine versus gin, and the Frenchman won by a nose. Whether that's true or not, one thing's for sure: this little island proves that international relations can be breezy and beachy. Fact number 6, Trinidad's Pitch Lake, a sea of solid tar. On the island of Trinidad lies something straight out of science fiction: Pitch Lake, the largest natural deposit of asphalt in the world. This gooey, jet-black lake spans about 100 acres and contains an estimated 10 million tons of semi-solid tar. It's not just a bizarre geological feature. It's a living, moving surface that occasionally swallows objects, then spits them back out years later. British explorer Sir Walter Raleigh stumbled upon it in 1595 and used the pitch to caulk his ships. Today it's still mined and exported for industrial use. But here's the real kicker: entire ancient trees, Amerindian artifacts, and even fossilized animals have been recovered from its sticky depths. Locals believe the lake is spiritually protected, and some say it's bottomless. One thing's for sure: it's the only place in the Caribbean where you can literally walk on tar and feel the ground breathe beneath your feet. Fact number 7, Jamaica, island of 1,000 churches. Jamaica isn't just reggae and rum. It's also the most church-dense country in the world. With over 1,600 churches across the island, it holds the Guinness World Record for the most churches per square mile. In fact, it's not uncommon to find multiple churches on a single street, from grand Anglican cathedrals to humble tin-roofed Pentecostal chapels. Christianity, especially Protestantism, runs deep in Jamaican society, with vibrant Sunday services filled with singing, clapping, and spirit-filled dancing. Churches here aren't just places of worship. They're community centers, food banks, schools, and social hubs. Even reggae legends like Bob Marley sang gospel-infused lyrics drawn from this deeply religious culture. Whether you're in Kingston or the countryside, one thing's clear: in Jamaica, you're never far from a pulpit or a passionate sermon echoing through the hills. Fact number 8, the Bahamas Olympic gold royalty per capita. The Bahamas may be home to just around 400,000 people, but on the Olympic stage, it punches far above its weight. When it comes to gold medals per capita, this island nation is a world beater, ranked number 1 globally. That's right. Based on population size, the Bahamas has won more Olympic golds per person than any other country on Earth. Most of these medals come from track and field, with Bahamian sprinters and relay teams blazing past global giants like the USA and China. The country has a reputation for producing athletic prodigies, often training in humble facilities but running with unstoppable island spirit. And when Bahamians bring home gold, the entire country celebrates, not just with parades but with national pride that echoes across the Caribbean Sea. They don't need a stadium full of fans. The islands themselves cheer them on. Fact number 9, Trinidad and Tobago, birthplace of the Steelpan. The Steelpan, often called the steel drum, wasn't just invented in Trinidad and Tobago. It was forged in fire, rebellion, and rhythm. Born in the 1930s and 1940s from oil drums left behind by the American military, this iconic instrument is the only acoustic instrument invented in the 20th century. Local youth, often poor and marginalized, hammered, burned, and tuned discarded barrels until they could create symphonies from steel. What started as an underground expression quickly became the heartbeat of carnival, and today it's the national instrument of Trinidad and Tobago. Steel orchestras can include up to 100 musicians, creating powerful harmonies and dazzling performances in competitions like Panorama. Its unmistakable shimmering tone now echoes worldwide, from movie scores to jazz clubs. And here's the kicker. What was once outlawed by colonial authorities is now a symbol of Caribbean pride and ingenuity. Fact number 10. West Indies cricket, one team, many nations. In most of the world, a national team represents one country. But in the Caribbean, cricket flips that rule on its head. The West Indies cricket team is a one-of-a-kind multinational squad, made up of players from around 15 different island nations and territories, including Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, St. Lucia, and more. These countries, though politically independent, unite under a single cricketing flag. Imagine if Europe had one team for soccer. That's the kind of collaboration we're talking about. The team has produced legends like Brian Lara, Viv Richards, and Chris Gayle, and it has dominated international cricket, especially in the 1970s and 1980s. Despite internal rivalries and logistical nightmares, the West Indies team proves that sports can unify a scattered region like nothing else. When they win, it's not one country celebrating. It's an entire sea of nations dancing in unison. Fact number 11. Barbados breaks the crown, the newest republic. In 2021, the glittering island of Barbados made headlines worldwide by doing something dramatic. It officially cut ties with the British monarchy and declared itself a republic. After nearly 400 years of colonial influence, Queen Elizabeth II was removed as head of state, and Dame Sandra Mason was sworn in as the first ever president of Barbados. This was not just symbolic. It was a bold political statement of full sovereignty and self-identity. The moment was marked by fireworks, Steelpan music, and an emotional ceremony attended by dignitaries and even Barbadian-born superstar Rihanna, who was named a national hero. While Barbados remains in the Commonwealth, its move inspired other Caribbean nations to rethink their own constitutional futures. It was a message to the world. Barbados is done bowing. It now stands fully on its own, proud and independent. Fact number 12. The Cayman Islands, where companies outnumber citizens. Welcome to the Cayman Islands, a tropical paradise where the sea is turquoise, the beaches are pristine, and the companies outnumber the people. With a population of just around 66,000, the Caymans host over 100,000 registered businesses, many of them international giants, hedge funds, and shell corporations. Why? Because the Caymans have no corporate tax, no capital gains tax, no income tax, and a reputation for ironclad financial secrecy. It's one of the most well-known offshore financial havens in the world, often accused, and admired, as a legal tax wizard's dream. Walk through Georgetown and you'll pass buildings housing hundreds of companies that exist only on paper. Critics call it money laundering light, locals call it economic genius. Either way, this tiny territory is an economic heavyweight with a suntan and a briefcase. Fact number 13. St. Lucia, the Helen of the West Indies. St. Lucia isn't just famous for its twin volcanic peaks. It's also known as the Helen of the West Indies. And no, that's not just poetic fluff. This tiny paradise was so desirable that it changed colonial hands 14 times between the French and the British. Back and forth they went, like a diplomatic tug-of-war, battling fiercely for control over its strategic location and fertile land. The nickname draws from Helen of Troy, whose beauty launched 1,000 ships, and St. Lucia was the island that launched 1,000 skirmishes. The French left their language and Catholicism, the British left their legal system and road signs. Today, St. Lucia still bears both influences, making it one of the most culturally blended islands in the region. But despite the wars, the island now radiates peace, a true Caribbean queen that was once fought over like a treasure chest in the sea. Fact number 14. St. Kitts and Nevis, the smallest sovereign state in the Americas. St. Kitts and Nevis may be tiny, but it's a fully sovereign country, and in fact it's the smallest one in the entire Western Hemisphere. This dual-island nation covers just 101 square miles. That's smaller than the city of Sacramento, California. Its population? Around 50,000 people, meaning it's possible for the average Instagram influencer to have more followers than the country has citizens. Despite its size, it has its own currency, parliament, military, and even a citizenship by investment program that's older than most others in the world. And don't be fooled, small doesn't mean sleepy. St. Kitts hosts raucous carnivals, has UNESCO-listed fortresses, and even launched a functioning space program in partnership with Cuba and other nations. It's a classic case of Caribbean minimalism with maximum independence. Fact number 15. Grenada's underwater sculpture park, Art Beneath the Waves. In 2006, the Caribbean made history, not on land but underwater off the coast of Grenada. That's where British sculptor Jason Taylor created the world's first underwater sculpture park, a submerged art gallery designed to evolve with the ocean. Located in Moliniere Bay, this surreal exhibition features dozens of life-sized statues, including a circle of children holding hands, a man at a desk, and figures taken over by coral. The sculptures are made from pH-neutral materials that encourage coral growth, turning static art into living reefs over time. Beyond its beauty, the project serves a deeper purpose. It draws divers away from fragile natural reefs, giving marine ecosystems a chance to recover. It's art you can only see with a snorkel or scuba tank, a hauntingly beautiful fusion of culture, conservation, and Caribbean imagination. Fact number 16. The Caribbean island that runs on blockchain. The future lives in St. Vincent. You might expect Silicon Valley or Tokyo to lead the way in digital innovation, but the tiny Caribbean nation of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is quietly making bold moves into the blockchain frontier. In recent years, the country has positioned itself as a crypto-friendly haven, offering zero capital gains tax and a government surprisingly open to digital assets, decentralized finance, and tokenized business models. Here's the twist. While many islands still struggle with outdated banking systems and slow bureaucracy, St. Vincent is attracting startups and investors from Europe and Asia who are building crypto banks, NFT marketplaces, and Web3 ventures, all on a set of islands where fishermen still haul in fresh catch daily. It's a paradox of paradise: palm trees, white sands, and a digital revolution humming quietly beneath the waves. If you enjoyed this journey through the hidden side of the Caribbean, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Subscribe to Andy Explores the World for more mind-blowing facts and off-the-radar travel discoveries every single week. A favorite fact from today's video? Drop it in the comments or tell us which country we should explore next. And as always, thanks for watching, stay curious, and see you in the next adventure.